Good morning, pregame crew. How are ya? It is Monday, April 10th, 2023, 8:21 a.m. Eastern, 6:21 a.m. Mountain Time. Good morning. I hope you had all the Easter jelly beans of your dreams and you had great family day yesterday. Thank you for being here. If you get anything out of the show, if you could hit that like button, that would be lovely. We are just now hitting ES hourly oversold. Got some weakness coming in here. So that 4-hour trend now bear. Let's see. Yeah. Awesome, Lori. Thank you. Well, I will officially get started in 9 minutes, and I'm going to need all 9 minutes to get warmed up after this long weekend, 3-day weekend, resting with the family. It was very much needed. Now I'm back here with my friends, so I need to warm up my TA muscles. So I'm going to take a few chart requests, and then we'll get started with indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day in 9 minutes. Hi, Shake It Back, Renaissance, Topher. Hey, Train Man. Hey, Ed. Bonjour, Roger. Hey, Bob, Casey. Sure, Roger, I can. Hey, Whitney. Hey, Mal, Basque. Josh. Lori C. Nugget. Sam, Tuscaloosa. Hey, Mary, Chris, you're welcome. Hey, Abraham. Sir, Sal. Casey, I will look at your chart request and then I'm just going to go ahead and give a disclaimer before we even get started. I think we need to take today slow. We need to just take it slow and see how things shake out. We still have potential daily bull flags on the table here. This looks very healthy, very healthy. So we're holding the daily 8 EMA. NASDAQ even looks better. So yes, we have temporary weakness and this could be the start of some consolidation that's needed. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves today, especially on a Monday after a long weekend. And we're kind of holding our breath for CPI data on Wednesday, PPI data on Thursday, and then bank earnings, big bank earnings start Friday. So let's go back up to the top. IBM, sure. Daily is pressing against the 50 MA. Weekly is pressing on it from below. Weekly lower high, the more likely scenario. So where will bears start to top fish? I would say this is good as place as any right here. Trap, let me change that color to the 200 MA. We're trapped below it right there. So maybe, I don't know if you'll get it, a 15-minute reverse back burner short, meaning I would wait for a bounce to short, looking for that weekly lower high. So I'm starting out at the higher time frame, the weekly, saying 200 MA is overhead. We've rejected from it 4 times. Yes, we're at the 50 MA, but on the weekly, the 50 MA is overhead. So we got problems on top of problems on top of problems. There's definitely opportunity, but I would say a bounce short is the better risk to reward trade. One second. Okay. I lost my chat. Okay. Let's see who's next. Crisp. Just an aside, I was reading my mom's bone marrow biopsy report, the chromosome report. It was 3 pages, and I worked in medical field for over 20 years. I was a medical coder. I'm just a pretend clinician, but I know enough to at least advocate for my family for healthcare. I was reading this chromosome report, and I'm like, thank God there's some smart people out there that can read this and then say, okay, we've got the technology and the medicine to heal this. It's just unbelievable. And this Crisp is in that field of genomics, which my mom may be getting some of the therapy. I'm not saying Crisp, but the genomic therapy. I'm just very grateful that there are a lot smarter people in this world than me that can figure all that out. Okay, back to Crisp. We have a daily squeeze as we are just stuck here under this daily 50 RSI and the 21 EMA. Bulls keep trying, but they've been stuck in this price range for a while. Draw a rectangle around it so you can see this base. So you see that base? When we get this really strong base, when we break out of it to the upside or to the downside, we typically get some good follow through because it's been so range bound. Good morning. Looks like you get chopped up in here though. Look, it's been in this range for so long. March 10th, a month. It's been in this range for a month. And just overall, it needs to be over the daily 21 EMA and daily 50 RSI. Essentially get over 46.28 to prove something, bulls. But I see why you're looking at it. It is getting pretty tight. I thought Cleveland Cliffs was, oh, is it CF? Why did I do CLF? No. Durr. Had it on futures. Huh. Daily downtrend, weekly downtrend. Monthly's looking for a higher low. I'm not very strong, but I for sure wouldn't trust these bulls as far as I could throw them. The only hope bulls have here, well, of course, that monthly higher low. And then this has this megaphone pattern. You see how we've got a higher high without follow through? We got a lower low without follow through. Let's see what they can do with Thursday's low. And I'm just going to throw this out here. This could be, no, that's ugly. I was going to say a 2-hour inverse head and shoulders. That's ugly. It had a green day on Thursday, but it hasn't really proven anything. Hourly 50 MA overhead. Cool your jets. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I really do. Hourly 50 MA overhead on jets. Daily inside bar. 1824 resistance, 1797 support. You know, I was looking at this morning. I was looking at UAL. I'll get back to jets, but I was like, wait, it was green earlier. Okay, no longer. It had climbed over Friday's high. I thought airlines were going to have relative strength this morning, but it looks like that's cooling off a little bit. Jets is pretty flat, pretty tight range on Friday. Excuse me, Thursday. I'm going to say that a lot. Just forgive me. We're right here below the hourly 50 MA. 1810 is your support and 1824 is your resistance. When y'all ask me, I try to look and think, what is this person trying to do? And I'm thinking, are you looking for that daily high or low? Since this gap was filled, we still have a gap down here though, 1772. Yeah, we still have a gap down here, but it is sitting on the 200 MA. This may be a decent place to buy. Using Friday's low as your stop. It could work. I don't like it as a strong conviction setup for my edge and my system. Okay. Good morning. Not very far, Slow Devil. Not at all. Okay. You know, George, you asked for 3. I'm going to do the first one. It's hard to do 3 requests. I want to be fair to everyone and get everyone at least one ticker that I can. MARA, Riot, all things Bitcoin related have me a cause to pause. Let's look at Bitcoin and then I'll get back to MARA. Okay, my general rule, let me show you what I posted today. TCG post. For sideways price action, when preceding price action is bullish, sideways action maintaining EMAs and 50 RSI is considered healthy consolidation and favors the bulls. It's not a guarantee of bullish continuation, but the slight edge goes to the bulls. And when we look at Bitcoin and we say, okay, let's apply that principle. What is the thought process? Preceding trend is up, sideways action. It favors the bulls. We're holding 50 RSI. We're maintaining these key EMAs, even the quickest EMA, the 8 EMA. This favors the bulls. Now, do I feel so strongly that I'd position bullishly within this? Possibly I would scale in a 1/3 long, but just overall, remember, if the preceding trend, let's say the preceding trend was bullish in this case, and we're maintaining EMAs and 50 RSI, then I am going to give the edge to the bulls, and then vice versa. If inverse, if we're not holding the 50 RSI, we're below the EMAs and the preceding trend is bearish, then I'm going to look for bearish continuation out of that tightening pattern. All right, so back to MARA with all those thoughts. So Bitcoin is going so sideways right now that it favors the bulls for me. So we have this little, let's call it an hourly EQ, assuming this happened on volume 793. Your low of Friday, 765. I would say 794 is viable, a viable long, and stop out quick if you're wrong, and just trying to position yourself for a potential bullish Bitcoin breakout. It doesn't mean it will. Doesn't mean it's going to break bull. That's just overall, I keep myself out of trouble when I stay with trends more often than going counter trend. Okay, we need to get started. That's not inverse head and shoulders. I see what you see, but typically that's a reversal pattern coming at the bottom of a downtrend where Coca-Cola is at the top of an uptrend. Overall, looks fine. No problems here. No concerns. 8.21 EMA just crossed on the weekly. Daily RSI is overbought. When I see a strong chart like this, this is what I do, and it helps me get trades all the time. Tell me when, and KO is not something I normally trade. It doesn't move enough for a day trader in general. But tell me when first hourly RSI gets oversold, looking for that daily high or low, and that can typically get you a really good scalp. I did it on ELF last week. I talked to you about that. We got hourly oversold here in that strong uptrending chart, and I just flipped it for $1. All right, y'all ready to get started? Let's do this thing. Howdy doody. No, Killa, I love your work. I will go over the dollar. All right, good morning. Welcome to the pregame show. This is who I am. I'm Charcow Lori. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, that'd be great, at Charcow Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and we teach technical analysis. And when I say community, I mean community. We are different, and everybody says they're different, and usually they are. They have this certain edge or this what makes them competitively different than the competing service. And it's definitely the community part for us. And it's also, you get all of your questions answered, and it's organized. It's not like Discord craziness. So anyway, what I do here every morning is I try to get you ready for the trading day. So this is the table that I assembled this morning. Current short-term price action, you're like, whoa, Lori, you did something wrong there. Bullish 84 points and bears get 53 points. Larger trends still favor the bulls. It doesn't mean the bears, this can't be the day for bears. It absolutely can be the day for bears. I forgot to get that other chat up. Good morning, Calculate. How are you? Hey, Jimbo. Happy Easter to you, belated. All right. So I have my notes off screen in TCGers. I will copy and paste these notes to our chat room when I am done. So overall, bulls get the benefit of the doubt looking at larger time frames. However, bears are making a stance with some fireworks this morning. So I was looking at this earlier. It kind of had this head and shoulders look, but regardless of pattern, it broke bear. 409.650. That's your key support. Y'all remember last week we kept saying 40.4098 was where we'd get hourly oversold. 4098 represented the 0.382 retrace. Let me do that again and show you. So hopefully what I'm able to drive home this morning, if you walk away with just one thing, it's going to be this. We talked about that number ad nauseum last week, 409875, 409875, and that matched up with that hourly oversold RSI which was a great back burner trade setup. We talked about it over and over and over and over and over. Then it became a pivot area. We talked about it before it came a pivot area. Now it is an actual pivot area. So going into today, 4096, the low of last week, 4096, that is the level bulls need to hold. Now, if we have a quick look below and fail, let's say go to 4090, and then we reverse, and that means bulls are making a stand. But let's just keep that level in mind. You need one level to remember today. That is 4096 for ES. Got you, JD. And that's okay. I'm glad that you keep up with the statistics and it works for you. That's awesome. If I'm ever here and y'all catch me knocking someone else's system, y'all call me out on it, because technical analysis, we can skin this cat 100 different ways. I guess we need to come up with another saying. That's kind of ugh. But we can approach technical analysis and trading from the strat, from market profile, from volume profile. We can approach it from so many different ways. And I do not knock anyone else's system. If it's working for you, then kudos. If you just trade by the moon, when you get a full moon, you get bullish or whatever, then God bless you. I'm not going to knock anyone's system. What we do is what I like to call pure price action. And I focus a lot less on patterns and more on trends. What's happening with price and how well are they achieving what they're trying to achieve? Let me show you here. Let's look at this. Look how fast the bears got here. They got here fast with tempo and with volume. That's a stand. The bears are making a big stand. If this would have been a little trickle down on a little tiny volume, then that tells me something. So just because price action breaks, the way it breaks tells me something. So at TCG, we teach you about price action. Okay, 4100, 4100, 4100. And if you want it, that's if you want to keep it simple. 4096 is that key support. And now resistance 4135. Now what's going to happen on a bounce? Bears are looking for lower highs on the hourly. Bears are looking for lower highs on the 4 hour. So now it becomes a reverse back burner day with the way that we just consolidated. Thank you. Thank you, Killa. See, I don't know those things, but that's awesome. And I know people there's this woman on Twitter who does crypto by the moon, and she's pretty accurate. You go, girl. Okay, NASDAQ. So NASDAQ's key support from last week, 12953. Hourly is not oversold on NASDAQ. NASDAQ's holding up a little bit better. Let's go look at ES. It is oversold. NASDAQ is not. NASDAQ is holding up a little bit better than ES this morning. And we have more room between the low so far and the low of last week. NASDAQ, let's go look at it on the weekly. And let's keep our mind about us, y'all. That's a potential weekly bull flag on NASDAQ. That's potential daily bull flag. Hourly, not so much. We've lost some momentum. But I would say it is up to the NASDAQ bulls to save this chart today and turn things around, or I would anticipate more incoming consolidation. Good morning, Jorge. Hey, Popa. RTY, we're coming in hot to Friday, to last week's low. Gosh, quit saying Friday. Wednesday's low, and this is a potential bear flag. Let's look at this. .382 is 1781, and we retraced to 1782. This could be a bear flag on the daily. Let me show you this other table. I did this table for the swing report service this weekend, and I said, you know, on larger trends, if we're this is a totally different table than what I show y'all. Well, I'm looking at really larger time frames. RTY was the only larger time frame that looked super weak. It was the only one. And that's because we still have a potential daily bear flag. 4 hour, lower high anticipated, hourly, lower high anticipated. So I would be looking for small and mid caps, or just stick with IWM and say, okay, when or if it hits 15-minute overbought, I'm going to short it, or I'll look for a short. Do you see what I'm doing? And a lot of you got tripped up last week by, not tripped up, but you were seeking more information when I said you should be able to explain your edge and your system within 30 seconds succinctly. And that really kind of baffled y'all a little bit, like exactly what am I talking about? And then I realized I need to refine mine even more. So someone asked me about it in the room. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Here. You should be able to explain your strategy in 30 seconds. I don't understand how that would be possible. So let me explain to you my system. My system is I follow price action, and I am primarily a trend trader, and I incorporate EMAs and RSI and volume to find the most likely scenarios. And then I position myself for the most likely scenario on shorter term time frames to then capitalize on that edge. So if you want to rewind that, that is my 30-second, 50,000 foot, how do I trade? Now, if you say, okay, Lori, tell us one of your specific edges. Here's a specific edge that I use. Here's another specific edge or setup. Here's another setup that I like. Here's a back burner trade setup. So I have several different setups that I use to achieve my 50,000 foot level of using price actions to discern or to formulate a probability path for the most likely scenario. So I hope that helps. There's a system, and that's a 50,000 foot level. And if you do the strat, that's your 50,000 foot level. And then your specific edge is when there's a daily inside bar, and it goes 50%, then I'm going to look for outside bar, and that'll be my next target. Then you have specific edges within that overall system. So I hope that sheds a little bit of light on what I meant by knowing what type of trader you are. I am a trend trader and a day trader primarily. That's what I do. And I've used price action to determine those trends in smaller time frames to position myself for the more likely scenario on larger time frames. I do. Let me show you something cool. I gotta clean this up. So I love being a capitalist. Do you notice how VIX continues to get knocked down? Yep, I've been covering it in the Swing Report weekend video. So for the past year, look at this trend line. It becomes a thing here and here and here, but it really becomes a thing here, and then it's really, 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 really a thing here. So I think that weekly trend line on the VIX is pretty spot on. And remember that VIX has tendency to do that. You can see that there. So yes, I do notice it. Okay, so RTY is weak. That's where I'd look for shorts if you're shorting futures or you want to short IWM puts. If you did that Thursday, it was one of our Queen of the Mountain setups. You should have been rewarded. Oh, you're welcome out. Richard, come on. Just kidding. Okay, so we're losing our 4-hour uptrend on YM. But are the YM bulls crying right here? No, there's no tears. There's no tears in trading. Actually, there are. Change color of my pen back. But YM looks good on the daily. There's no major issues. We got that weekly double top we talked about last week, and it's still holding. We're still holding last week's low. But remember, we have bank earnings Thursday and Friday. So if you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted this out Saturday. The market is going to go along the path of least resistance and bring as few people as possible with it along the way. What would be something that the market could really confuse the majority of traders and just throw them for a loop this week. It would be big bank earnings beats. For them to beat, you already need a rest. Because people have been bearish on XLF and KRE because of the Silicon Bank and all the other debacles. Wouldn't that be a surprise? And wouldn't that shake out the most number of people is to have bullish bank earnings? And if we were to have bullish bank earnings, and these are all hypotheticals, you can't trade this. I just want you to keep your mind open. And this chart looks positioned for it because we have a lot of banks in the Dow. The Dow's holding the daily 50 EMA. All EMAs are below it. Hourly, it's not happy with current performance, but no big issue. Next bounce will be looking for hourly lower highs. And we'll see if we break the low of Thursday or last week, that means something different. That means the bears are really taking a stand. So I'm not screaming from the rooftops yet that we've got major consolidation happening until we take out the low of last week. Okay. Hang Seng is green. DAX is green. Bitcoin, we went over it, that it's really sideways. Y'all look at this 4-hour squeeze. Because I've studied the squeeze for so long, what I can tell you with about 85% certainty when this breaks out, and I'm not going to predict the direction, when it breaks out of whatever it needs to break out of, whatever levels. Let's do this. Man, I'm long-winded today. When it breaks out of this, it will be explosive. There's an 85% chance you're going to get some major volatility. When something compresses this long, and this has been compressing, let's take it all the way back here. March 29th here on the 4-hour, you're typically going to get great follow through with whichever way it breaks. What does that mean? That means if you miss the breakout or breakdown, the next time it consolidates in just a little bit, if it's bullish, you can typically buy that dip and vice versa. That means you should get a trend for 6 to 7 candles after. So this is 4 hours. So that'd be at least a day you would get follow through to the upside or downside. So this has me on guard for MARA, Riot. We could get some great trades out of them this week. All right, Ethereum. Ethereum is not as strong as Bitcoin. We're squeezing. We're holding the daily 8 EMA. It's like no big deal. We're holding everything. It's all right. Oh, by the way, did y'all watch the Masters? That was interesting. Those guys are so good. I've played golf a handful of times, and I just respect what they do. Crazy. So we're holding the daily 8 EMA, and they're just chilling up here. Ethereum is just chilling. Its daily looks better than Bitcoin. But the 4-hour, Bitcoin looks better. You're smacking the like button, Tuscaloosa. Hit it. There are 317 of you and only 100 likes. All right, gold. Let's get a bigger perspective on gold. Gold's holding the daily 8 EMA. Is a daily lower high possible? Sure. Gold has been super bullish for a while now since the bank debacle entered around here. So for a month, it's been bullish. So I want you to pay attention to this chart because when I get to one of our Queen of the Mountain charts, you're going to need to remember this. Someone asked me about the dollar. A daily lower high is anticipated compared to 103.058, but the bulls are making enough room for a daily high or low. So let's see what the dollar bulls, they're getting jiggy with it right here. Yeah, that's a major move. We're hourly overbought in a daily downtrend. This could be a top fish setup. Do y'all see that? That's one of my specific edges. Daily downtrend, hourly overbought. And then I go to shorter time frames to position myself for that more likely scenario. And right now it's not setting up yet. Bulls are in control. It could be getting close though. If you're a Forex trader, you would love this. This could be a little head and shoulders. But we need more. We need price action to confirm. I can't trade RSI. I trade price. Bruce, I don't know first names. Which one? Is that Kepka? I forget, I don't know first names. I wanted Bennett to do better, but he did great. All right, so we were looking at the dollar. The dollar looks strong right now. However, bears can be waiting to pounce. It's not time to pounce, but waiting to pounce on this daily lower high potential top fish setup on the dollar. If that were to shake out, then gold bottom fish could set up. SI was stronger than gold this morning. We're giving a lot back. We have plenty of room for hourly high or low. Serrana, yep, I just went over that top fish setup on IWM. You're looking for, I would look to short it off at overbought. So an oversold bounce and it gets into overbought territory on the 5 or 15 minute, then I'd be looking for a top fish setup. Brooks Koepka, yeah. Well, which one was Bruce then? Okay. Back to, I don't know, I don't normally go over silver, but I just wanted to call it out because it's stronger than gold this morning. Oil is really giving up. Okay. All right. What does that do with XLE? 1 second. This had a decent setup this morning, but I couldn't figure out oil, but the dollar is helping us figure out oil. So the low of Friday was 84.81. We're below that Friday. So we have double Ds on XLE, double daily inside bars, and we are breaking bearish out of them due to this oil bearish move. So you could get a top fish setup and XLE on a bounce. You could look to top fish that. So oil is looking weak. All that is gone to crap. 79.84 is your next support. So the weekly, we had a higher high. Daily, we still have this gap down here at 75.72. Not all gaps have to be filled, but I'd look for bounces for shorting on oil. Nat Gas says, what consolidation? That's a nice bounce, but again, I got no love for Nat Gas until it shows me something. Y'all look at this 4-hour 50 MA. It has been resistance for over a month. Bulls need to prove something during regular trading hours with trend changes. Apple. Apple, daily inside bar. We are not breaking the daily inside bar bearish yet. So we're holding the 8 EMA, and this could be a bull flag on Apple. There are no major issues here. No structural major issues on the daily. On the 4-hour, it's a different scenario. Now, if let's work through some things here. I'm working through this live with you because I hadn't thought about this. If Apple holds the low of Monday, 162, but let's go ahead and give it 161.92. The low of one of the lows pre-market, because we know how Apple likes to do. So 161.92, as long as Apple is holding the low of Friday, I don't think the market's in major trouble yet. Okay. Was that the low? The low of last week, 161.80 was the low of last week of Apple. So let's just use that same thought process I said earlier. As long as the major indices are holding the lows of last week, I'm not going to get overly concerned about the consolidation. And that holds true for Apple as well. I need to go faster. Apple hourly 50 MA is rejecting on Amazon, sorry. But look how much room we have between where we are and the low of Friday. And that's also true for NVDA. NVDA had a big range on Friday. As long as we're holding the low of last week on any of these names, I'm not overly concerned. Tesla, I'm concerned. Tesla is weak, daily downtrend. They're cutting prices on their cars, and then the Model 3 is not eligible for a full tax credit or something like that. So bounces are for shorting on Tesla until the bulls can prove something. And it's been a minute since they've proved something. So I'm looking for first 5-minute overbought on Tesla. BA, so I had a lot of long setups this morning, and they may not work out. But what I was looking at here is look at this daily lower lows that we were getting on the 30-minute. This looked like a falling wedge to me. So I'm looking for a daily higher low. So y'all look at this. Let me take that off. Daily higher low. We're at the 50 MA using this bullish pattern, a potential 30-minute falling wedge, to potentially nail that daily higher low relative to Thursday's low, 208.22. And that may work. All right, this is going to be a weird one. Gold, I just went over how it's been bullish. It's getting beaten up right now. What is the dollar? The dollar, no short yet. No short yet. So gold has been looking strong on higher time frames. So I think a pullback buy to prior resistance could serve as support. 33.34 can make sense. I'm going to set an alert there, and I'll evaluate the dollar and gold and the market at that time to see if that trade still makes sense. Netflix, we're looking for a daily higher low. Look, we filled that gap. We hit the daily 50 MA. And this looks like an inverse head and shoulders to me. So I like a bottom fish of Thursday's low for Netflix. Now, if the market just continues to stay weak and takes out the low of last week, then this trade setup is null and void. And don't come crying to me. All right, so on this one, I'm looking for a daily lower high on snow. Look how far it's pulled back. It's not holding the daily 50 MA. This is a weak chart. So I'm looking for a reverse back burner. I'm looking for a bounce to short, and I would love to short it at the 50 MA, 149.49. So I'm just going to set alert here for 149. And if it doesn't get there, then I don't take the trade and it's no big deal. So hourly, no, that's not what I wanted. 15-minute overbought would be around 149.46. So that's what I was looking for snow, is a reverse back burner on a 15-minute overbought for a short. Y'all, I don't know if y'all could feel it, but I felt like all pistons were firing this morning. So I hope you got something out of the show. We have CPI on Wednesday, PPI on Thursday, bank earnings on Friday, and we got some Fed speakers every day. Overall, this could be a slow market. I mean, right now we're only down 0.6% on ES, so don't get your panties in a wad yet. Bears have not proven a ton until they take out the low of last week. All right, if y'all could hit that like button, I'd greatly appreciate it. TCG members, I will get the notes over to you in a second. And don't forget to give me a follow on Twitter at ChartGalLori. All right, thanks, y'all. Use stop losses.